All right, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. Part two, I guess, of an unofficial trilogy, and it's going to get even weirder when we get to the next match, but we'll get there when we get there. But if you remember from my Money in the Bank review, if you haven't watched it yet before this one, definitely do that. If you wish. If not, that's totally fine. But essentially, to kind of recap, at Money in the Bank, Edge faced Roman Reigns, and Reigns for the Universal Championship was majorly screwed over by Seth, who attacked him. And Seth was upset that Edge was quote unquote cutting in line for a shot at the Universal Championship after after only having been back for about a year or so. Oh, of course, Edge returned at the 2020 Royal Rumble. So Seth was very upset about that, and so it's led to this match. Actually, it's led to some other shenanigans from Edge. As Edge seemingly wants to tap into the dark side. And I'm not talking about the dark side of the Force like Star Wars, whereas Edge is not a Jedi, although that would be kind of sick. But he is a very upset man, and very upset about what's happened. In a way, you could say he's brooding. And so, let's see what happens when we talk about Edge versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2021. Now, of course, as always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer or analyst or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time. And I'm gonna say I had a pretty good time with this match. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of know how this works. Excuse me. But if you haven't, I'm gonna be talking about what I liked and disliked about the match. As for how we got here, I kind of alluded to it as well. But there's other tidbits that they brought up on commentary. They brought up Seth almost breaking Edge's neck back when, and it was 2015, and Seth was part of the Authority. Or actually, it was 2014. So, of course, there's back in 2014, Seth and his team lost at Survivor Series, so the Authority was out of power. So Seth pretty much took Edge, who wasn't wrestling at the time. This was before he came back, and pretty much threatened to give him a curb stomp and essentially break his neck if John Cena didn't reinstate the Authority, which John Cena pretty much did, or else Edge probably would have been fully taken out. So now they brought that back into the forefront, which is actually very smart to bring that back up and to kind of bridge the gap there. And Seth saying, he should have did, he should have finished the job. But which, yikes! I mean, I get you're a heel, but Jesus, man. But now, how Edge essentially is in a position where he can fight back, so it's led to this match here. So starting with what I liked about this match, one of the things that I really liked was it was very fun back and forth. Admittedly, between Edge versus Roman and Edge versus Seth, I think I gravitated more towards Edge versus Seth. Not the last time they would face off; they would pretty much face off a few more times throughout the year. But in terms of I think Edge meshed a little bit better with Seth as opposed to Roman, and the match wasn't nearly as long. This one was still kind of long at 21 minutes, uh, but not quite as long as the Roman match. And I think Seth, in his style of being very high flying, being very energetic, fast paced, which also is worth mentioning. Well, I didn't watch Saturday night's main event last night. I am very much wishing a very healthy, speedy recovery for Seth, who seemingly has injured his knee again. So, just wishing all the best for Seth in terms of his recovery when it comes to that, as well as even though we're not there yet to talk about All In, as well as Adam Cole, man, and it's definitely terrible time. Both of them being injured, or kind of within the same night. Although Adam seemingly was injured back on Collision and then was ultimately pulled from All In. But wishing them both very speedy, and very healthy, very well recoveries in terms of that. But it is messed up, and I do wonder what they're going to do with the Money in the Bank. But back to this match, Seth and his style, I think, he meshed a little bit better with Edge, and kind of his style being more like technical, but also quite a few theatrics and everything. I think I think having those paired together or made things a bit more interesting, at least to me. And the story of Seth going after Edge, who Edge is his the story they're telling throughout is him kind of going to his dark side, and Edge even before the match coming out to the Brood entrant, and sadly no Christian or Gangrel, unfortunately. He actually wouldn't reunite with them until he went up to AEW. By this point, Christian was. Um, I believe Christian was fully in AEW. If not, he might have still been in Impact. I think he went to no. So I think he went to Impact because of the relationship, like the work relationship that AEW and Impact slash TNA had at the time. So I think that's where I'm getting kind of confused at. But nevertheless, as a solo Brood entrance for Edge, but it was pretty cool, to see until they kind of overdid it in later appearances for Edge and started referring to him fully as Brood Edge. Seth even got a bloodbath on I believe it was the SmackDown before, either the Raw or the SmackDown before this match, but had Edge tapping into his dark side, I'd hit and we kind of see both those stories play out within this match, with Edge really going after Seth and Seth really going after Edge. So I think having those play out was interesting. It added an interesting kind of dynamic to this match, and ultimately, Edge does come out victorious. It's actually winning by submission, which is a little bit surprising that it didn't quite end with like the spear or anything like that, but instead ending via submission. And I believe Seth passed out. How did I forget exactly if Seth tapped or passed out? So let me Hey, yeah. So it was the bulldog choke. Ironically, a move that Seth's old friend John Moxley does. But yeah. So Seth has being choked out essentially with the bulldog choke, in order to pick up the win. So again, kind of surprising that it was a submission victory, but I guess it does add to kind of the dark side element of Edge that he's tapping into for this match. So I think it kind of works in that regard. All right, admittedly, I guess this is one of the things I didn't really like about the match, so I guess we'll get into that. Uh, Excuse me, admittedly, I think the way they kind of told the story of Edge tapping to the dark side was a bit clunky. They kind of it almost felt a little bit forced into the match, but I do see. Yeah, I'm someone who can appreciate intent, and I can definitely see them trying to play out that story. But I wish they did it a little bit better. I do wish this was like no holds barred. I think this was just a regular match, if I'm not mistaken. But I do wish. I do wish this was no holds barred, um, but nevertheless, so I think that kind of adds a weird element to the match, unfortunately. Yeah, but had otherwise still a really fun match then, so I definitely recommend it. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you never miss an upload. And let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on the match, my review of the match. If you like the match, you like my review of the match, let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.